Hey, what's up guys? It's Reed Young, aka Shuda here, and I'm going to be reviewing a $400 buy-in five-handed hand, and we are on the big blind. We see here that the cutoff raises and the small blind re-raises, and we're going to try to get a little trappy here pre-flop with a cold call. You guys can see we're pretty deep with the cutoff, but the small blind only has 100 big blinds effective. So before we get further into this hand, I wanted to let you guys know that as a thank you for everyone to subscribing to my channel, that I'm going to be doing a special video that I'm going to put up on YouTube. It'll be probably a gameplay video or something like that, but there'll be a link below this hand in YouTube if you guys want a chance to vote and get some input on what that video will be. It's up to you guys, and I'm doing it, just to make you happy. So anyway, going through the hand, we cold call in the big blind, and the cutoff calls, and we see a flop of 4 Jack 3 with 2 clubs on it. The small blind continuation bets, which it's a pretty small bet size given the size of the pot, but he doesn't need to go crazy here. 1/4 pot is a bit small. He's not going to have much trouble getting his stack in later though, so that's the main thing. We decide to raise the flop, and I think this is not the best play for a few reasons. First of all, it's going to define our range very well for the cutoff against whom we're deep, and that's not a good idea. So in other words, it's going to look to him like we have something like a set of jacks, a really good draw like a flush draw with 2 overcards here, or a hand like we do have, like a slow played big pair. So I think it's not the best idea to raise here for that reason. Another reason is that you have to think about our entire cold calling range and what it looks like. So if you're cold calling here with hands like nines through jacks most of the time, hands you might not be comfortable getting in cold 4 betting, especially with the cutoff who's 170 big blinds effective with this. Those hands could look a little bit more attractive to cold call, but we're not really going to be raising any of those hands except for jacks on the flop. So, and the occasional ace queen is a bluff, of course, but when we do raise a hand like this, I think it just tends to look like what it is, or a bluff. And I doubt the cutoff is just going to put us on a bluff often enough to misplay a hand like pocket nines that he could have. So when we raise, it lets him off the hook pretty easily, and it also stops him from bluffing, and it stops the small blind from bluffing the turn if he decides to just flat us on the flop. So all of those, I think, kind of point to the main problem in this hand, which is raising the flop. I mean, I don't hate it. Obviously, we need to balance our bluffs with some value, but it's kind of a bit counterintuitive to the slow play pre-flop. So that said, we're on to the turn. The turn is the king of spades, and the small blind checks to us, and we're trying to figure out what to do. Because if we shove here, the small blind's going to pretty much have to call us with a worse hand than a pair of kings. So I guess the problem with asking this question is that not every turn is going to be the king of spades. So you got to realize when we're raising the flop, if we are doing it with a bluff or a semi-bluff, this is actually a pretty good card to continue on, because it's going to be tough for our opponent to felt a hand like pocket nines. And I think that's probably the bulk of his range, something like pocket nines, ace jack, of course he'll have king jack and pocket kings and stuff like that. He's slow played as well. But with the sizing, he could just have a draw that has no folding equity on the turn, or what he perceives to be no folding equity. Like we said, our raise looks pretty strong, so maybe he's just flatting a flush draw, trying to see if he gets there on the turn, and if he doesn't, give up. But the main point is that you want to continue here. If we check back, I think our range looks even stronger because this is such a good bluff card. So if you think about it from the small blind's point of view, our range is going to be a few bluffs and a few extremely strong hands. Like we said, we're probably not going to be playing pocket nines this way, so that kind of takes out all the medium strength hands. So really what we're left with, if we're not bluffing the turn and we're checking back, you know, with only the made hand portion of our flop raising range, is super strong hands. So unless he's a terrible player, the best play is going to be just shoving the turn, trying to represent a draw, and it also works out for your game plan because you're balancing with your semi-bluffs. Checking back this turn, really with almost anything you'd raise the flop with, unless you're going to be giving up some amount of the time, is just a bad idea. And if you're giving up on this turn, it probably means you're just raising the flop with too wide of a range. And you guys are welcome to do some math and put some numbers with some cards there. I won't go into a lot of detail for these types of videos, but I think you know, shoving the turn is far and away the best play against this player's range, and for your range more importantly. So I hope you guys like this video. If you do, share it with a buddy. It'll help the channel grow, and we can get to that 300 subscriber video I'm doing for you guys even sooner. Alright, take care guys.